Hi grade 9s, today's video will be about quadrilaterals and that's our second last topic in our geometry unit. We've learned a lot of great things and we only have a couple more things to learn before the end of this unit. In this video you will not see a picture of me because I haven't put my makeup on or done my hair yet. So we will be looking at my dining room table for the entire video. The first thing you need to know about quadrilaterals is that quadrilateral just means a shape that has four sides. So here you see two different quadrilaterals. And the big rule about quadrilaterals is that the angles on the inside add up to 360. So if we add up the inside angles of a four-sided shape, this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle adds up to 360. This angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle adds up to 360 degrees. So let's try this easy example from the workbook together. Here we have a quadrilateral. It's a quadrilateral because it has four sides, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we know that in a quadrilateral, all the angles add up to 360. So that means that 112 plus 48 plus the 40 plus the x, the one we don't know, has to add up to 360 degrees. So 112 plus 48, I'm going to do some mental math here. 112 plus 48 is 100 and, oh my goodness, I need my husband to help me, 160. And 160 plus 40 is 200. If I made a mistake, you can make a comment in the YouTube comments. So I know that all three of those angles add up to 200 degrees. We need to think 200 degrees plus what else is going to add to 360. Some of us just know, obviously, it must be 160. But we can also do some algebra. We're going to balance the equations to get the x all alone. These cancel out. My x is going to be equal to 160 degrees. And what I would always do at the end of a question is I would take my calculator out, I would add up those four numbers just to make sure that they add to 360, to make sure I didn't make a mistake. I'm going to put another question on the screen, and what I would like you to do is press pause and try it yourself at home. Throughout this unit, probably the rule that we are going to use most frequently is the protractor rule. The rule where if you have a straight line and it's split in half, we can draw a protractor and our protractor adds up to 180. So those two angles add up to 180. So you always need to be looking for occasions to use that rule with the protractor. In this question, we see a quadrilateral that has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. We also see three angles that are in the inside. But this angle over here, we do not know what the inside angle is. So somehow we need to find that angle. So I look next to it and I see the 121. The 121 is not inside the quadrilateral, it's outside. But right here, I can draw a protractor, and I know that to find this angle right here is just the two of these angles add up to 180, which means my question mark must be equal to 59 degrees, because 59 plus 121 give you 180. So all of a sudden now, I'm going to put my 59 here, and I can totally ignore this part of the question now and only worry about the 4 things that are inside the quadrilateral. And I know that 4 angles inside a quadrilateral must add up to 360. So 84 degrees plus 100 degrees plus 59 degrees plus x has to add up to 180 degrees. So let's do some mental math here. 80 and 50 gives you 130. 130 plus this extra 13 gives you 143. 143 plus 100 is 243 degrees. Oh, this is not 180. This is 360. It's a quadrilateral. Plus x has to add up to 360 degrees. X is equal to 360 minus 243. We want to figure out what this other number must be so that when I add these two together, it gives me 360. Okay, so I believe, I'm doing mental math, 117. This angle up here is going to be 117 degrees. What I want to remind you is that just like we couldn't forget the rule about the protractor, we can't forget the rule about parallel lines and transversals. Sometimes you need to use all the rules in one question. So let's go back to our rules about parallel lines and transversals. We know that we can draw the Z pattern, and that means that this angle right here would be the same as this angle right here. We call it the Z pattern, but officially it's called the alternate angle rule. We could also, I need to get a different color of marker. We could also draw an F. An F tells us, if I can draw the letter F, then the 2 angles that are underneath the F, they're equal too, and that's called corresponding angles. And then the last rule is if I can draw the letter C, then those 2 inside angles, this angle and this angle right here, they're not equal, they're supplementary. They add up to 180. So you're going to see that these rules are going to be required to do the next question. And we know these rules are required in the next quadrilateral question because in the next quadrilateral question, we are going to see those 2 arrows. The 2 arrows that mean that there are 2 lines in the question that are parallel. In this question, we see a quadrilateral, 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. We also see parallel lines, and you can tell they're parallel because they have the arrows on them. That means I'm going to have to use the rules about quadrilaterals, the fact that all the angles inside the quadrilateral add up to 360, but I'm also going to have to use those rules about parallel lines. And right away, I can see that these sides are the parallel lines. These sides are like the transversals. I could extend them. They're not extended in the quadrilateral, but you could extend them. And if you extend them, you see that right here I have the letter Z. So that means that this angle right here is going to be 58 degrees. Okay, that's awesome. Now, let's look. I want to use quadrilaterals. Oh, I actually could use the letter C. I could see that right here, if these are parallel lines, these 2 on the inside, if I make the letter C, must add up to 180. I see the C pattern. So I know that 138 plus Y needs to add up to 180 because they make the C, and they're both inside parallel lines. So that would mean that my Y needs to be equal to 42. Okay, let's find more angles. Even though it's not asking us for more angles, let's find more angles. See how this line comes out of my quadrilateral? I could draw a protractor. And I know that if I have a protractor, these two together add up to 180. So 58, we'll call it question mark, plus question mark adds up to 180 degrees. That means that my question mark is 180 degrees minus 58, and that's going to be 122 degrees. Because those two make a protractor, they should add to 180. Now, let's check to make sure we didn't make any mistakes. Right here I have this quadrilateral, and I know that if I have a quadrilateral, the angles on the inside of a quadrilateral should add up to 360. That means 122 plus 58 plus 138 plus 42. Hopefully that should be equal to 360. Let's get our calculators and check. So I've got my calculator now. I'm doing 122 plus 58 plus 138 plus 42 equals 360, just like it should, because those are the four angles inside a quadrilateral. I hope that video today made sense. The big idea is that you can't think of only one rule. You have to think of all the rules we've learned and put them together. Please add a comment to the bottom of this video so that I know that you watched it. I love to know which ones of my students are watching my videos. If you have a question in the comment section, you can leave your questions there too.